Hello everyone. Good morning, my dear students. Hope you all are fit and fine during this pandemic situation due to COVID-19. Now, from today onwards, we are going to start up with the English literature part from prose section, the very first chapter, My Lost Dollar, written by Stephen Leacock. Now, let us see the short introduction about the narrator. Stephen Leacock was an internationally popular Canadian humorist, educator, lecturer, and author of more than 30 books of light-hearted sketches with criticisms of people's follies. The Stephen Leacock Memorial Medal was named in his honor. He is the best remembered for his best-selling book Sunshine Sketches of a Little Town. Many of us might have borrowed something or the other things from our friends, like rubber, pencil, sharpener, stapler. Now, here also in this chapter, we can see there are two characters. One is narrator, and the other one is Mr. Todd, who is the friend of narrator. My friend Todd owes me $1. He has owed it to me for 12 months, and I fear there is little prospect of his ever returning it. I can realize whenever I meet him that he has forgotten that he owes me $1. He meets me in the same frank, friendly way as always. My dollar has clear gone out of his mind. I see that I shall never get it back. Now, in this para, what we see is that narrator is saying that he had lent $1 to his friend Mr. Todd. But Mr. Todd is not willing to give him back, because whenever Mr. Todd meets narrator, he meets in a very friendly and frank way, but never talk about $1 which he owed from narrator. On the other hand, I know that I shall remember all my life that Todd owes me $1. Now, the narrator is saying that he is never going to forget that he lent $1 to his friend Mr. Todd. It will make no difference, I trust to our friendship, but I shall never be able to forget it. I don't know how it is with other people, but if any man borrows $1 for me, I carry the recollection of it to the grave. Here, narrator is saying that if somebody borrows something from the other person, they must return it back to them. Let me relate what happened. Todd borrowed this dollar last year on the 8th of April, just as he was about to leave for Bermuda. He needed $1 in change to pay his taxi, and I lent it to him. It happened quite simply and naturally. I hardly realized it till it was all over. He merely said, "Let me have $1, will you?" And I said, "Certainly." Is $1 enough? I believe, in fact, I know that when Todd took that $1, he meant to pay it back. Now, in this para, narrator is explaining what had happened actually. His friend Mr. Todd borrowed $1 last year on 8th April because he was about to leave for Bermuda. He borrowed $1 from narrator to pay a taxi driver because he didn't had a change. And narrator was very sure that when Mr. Todd took $1 from him, he was about to return him back. He sent me note from Hamilton, Bermuda. I thought when I opened it that the dollar would be in it, but it was not. He merely said that the temperature was up to nearly 100. The figure misled me for a moment. Now, in this para, narrator is saying that when Mr. Todd reached Bermuda, he sent him a note that the temperature was very much high. But the expectation of the narrator was when he opened the envelope, he expected that there must be a dollar inside that envelope. But it was not. Todd came back in 3 weeks. I met him at the train, not because of the dollar, but because I really esteem him. I felt it would be nice for him to see someone waiting for him on the platform after being away for 3 weeks. I said, "Let's take a taxi up to the club." But he answered, "No, let's walk." Now, when Todd came back from Bermuda, narrator thought to receive him on the platform, not because he gave him the dollar, but he really esteemed him. He was a very good friend of Mr. Todd and he wanted to receive him. He wanted to make Mr. Todd feel very good that someone is waiting on the platform for him. And narrator asked him to take a taxi up to the club. But Mr. Todd told, "No, let's have a walk." We spent the evening together talking about Bermuda. I was thinking of the dollar, but of course, I didn't refer to it. One simply cannot. I asked him what currency is used in Bermuda and whether the American dollar goes at par. Narrator and Mr. Todd spent the evening by talking about Bermuda. Narrator was again and again thinking about a dollar which he owed Mr. Todd, but he was not able to ask for his own money from Mr. Todd. And he gave him little bit hint that how was your journey in Bermuda and what was the currency used in Bermuda. Was a dollar used in Bermuda also, or some different currencies were used? I put a slight emphasis on the American dollar, but found again that I could not bring myself to make any reference to it. Now, the narrator was trying to ask for his money, but he was not able to. It took me some time to realize that he had completely forgotten the dollar. I asked him one day what his trip cost him, and he said that he kept no accounts. A little later, I asked him if he felt settled down after his trip, and he said that he had practically forgotten about it. So I knew it was all over. Now here, what narrator is saying that it took some time to make him realize that Mr. Todd had forgotten about a dollar which he owed from the narrator. But later, he realized that he has now forgotten and he is not willing to pay him back. Narrator also asked Mr. Todd that what was the amount which he spent on the journey for Bermuda. But Mr. Todd said that he had kept no accounts. Narrator also asked Mr. Todd that was he willing to settle down in Bermuda, but Mr. Todd replied that now he has already forgotten about that previous journey for Bermuda. In all this, I bear Todd no grudge. I have simply added him to the list of men who owe me $1 and who have forgotten it. There are quite a few of them now. I make no difference in my demeanor to them, but I only wish that I could forget. Now here what narrator is saying that he had no grudges with Mr. Todd, but he added his name in the list which he made, whoever owed $1 from the narrator. And narrator also said that there is no difference in his behavior for his friendship between the narrator and Mr. Todd. Though Mr. Todd borrowed money from the narrator and he hadn't returned it, but his friendship is like the same as it was before. I meet Todd very frequently. Only 2 nights ago, I met him out at a dinner and he was talking apparently without self-consciousness about Poland. He said that Poland would never pay her debts. You would think a thing like that would have reminded him, wouldn't you? But it didn't seem to. Now here, 2 nights ago only, the narrator met Mr. Todd and they both were discussing about Poland. Mr. Todd told that Poland never used to pay her debts. But in the meantime, a rather painful thought has begun to come into my mind at intervals. It is this: if Todd owes me $1 and has forgotten it, it is possible that there must be men who I owe $1 which I have forgotten. Now here, one painful thought comes to the narrator's mind, that if Todd owed him $1 and has forgotten to return it back, there must be a man whom the narrator must have owed $1 and has forgotten to return them back. There may be a list of them. The more I think of it, the less I like it, because I'm quite sure that if I had once forgotten $1, I should never pay it on this side of the grave. Now, what the narrator is saying, that if we have forgotten to return the money back from whom he owed $1, then he is not willing to pay them back. If there are such men, I want them to speak out, not all at once, but in reasonable numbers, as far as may be in alphabetical order. I will immediately write their names down on paper. I don't count here men who may have lent me an odd $1 over a bridge table, and I am not thinking of the man who lent me 30 cents to pay for a bottle of plain soda in the Detroit Athletic Club last month. Now here what narrator is saying, that he wants to have a talk with the man whom he owed $1, and he wants to make a list from he owed $1. He wants to write down their names alphabetically, and the narrator is not willing to pay the $1 back who had lent him an odd $1 during the billiard games, or who gave 30 cents for his plain soda. I always find that there is nothing like plain soda after a tiring ride across the Canadian frontier, and that man who advanced that 30 cents knows exactly why I felt that I had done enough for him. But if any man ever lent me $1 to pay for a taxi when I was starting for Bermuda, I want to pay it. Now, here what the narrator is saying, that the one who paid 30 cents for his plain soda might have felt that the narrator must have done a lot of favor on that man. That's why he paid 30 cents for the narrator's plain soda. But here what he is saying that if anybody might have paid for a taxi for a trip of Bermuda, then he would definitely have paid him back the dollar. More than that, I want to start a general movement, a back to honesty movement for paying all these odd dollars that are borrowed in moments of expansion. Let us remember that the greatest nations were built up on the rock basis of absolute honesty. Now, here the narrator is not willing to pay the money back from whom he lent the money, but he wants to start a general movement of the name of Back to Honesty. In conclusion, may I say that I do particularly ask that no reader of this story will be careless enough to leave this copy round where it might be seen by Major Todd of the University Club of Montreal. Now, here the narrator is asking the readers not to leave the story around his friend Mr. Todd, or not to reveal this story in front of his friend Mr. Todd, who is from the University Club of Montreal.